This big old equipment sure comes in handy, but can be really tough on trees.
They say an eco-friendly house can't be built in 150 days for $150,000, and I say it can. I'm Alan Smith. Join me as I push the limits with time, budget, and creativity with the Garden Home Challenge, exclusively on ehowhome.
Hey, prowling around here on the site, I discovered this little willow oak tree and decided I'd like to keep it, but you know, I didn't communicate clearly that I wanted it protected. So what's happened is you can see the tracks of the big track hoe kind of moving around the roots of this little guy. And you can see where the blocks got placed. Not good, not good for a tree. You want to make sure that if you're trying to save trees, you need to be well away from the drip line of the tree. What that means is it would be this point here, the outer perimeter, called the drip line of the tree, is a minimum of distance from the trunk out where you don't need anything going on. You don't need people parking under it. You don't need to be driving equipment on it. You don't need to be placing things on it. However, placing block around it would really sort of help protect it. What you don't want to do is compact the soil, because what happens is when you compact the soil, you change the percolation rate of the water that goes through the soil. This tree has been used to, its tree's probably 7 years old, and it's been used to a certain amount of water percolation, a certain amount of oxygen in the air. And when you press all of that down, it changes the whole little mini ecosystem for this tree. But what I want to do is I want to take these bypass pruners and I'm going to clean this tree up a little bit and go ahead and prune this little gentleman. And what I'm doing here is I'm just taking the bypass pruners, and I've got the sharp edge on the underside, and I'm cutting it just like that. By taking off these limbs, you want a nice clean cut like this. Let me move this out of the way. You see how that's hanging off like that? I want to cut that off. And that branch collar will then grow around that and completely heal that cut. And it may take it a year, but it'll be just fine. But getting all this unnecessary growth off, what I don't want the tree to do is put energy into putting out these limbs that aren't any good. I want this to grow up and make a really nice big shade tree. So taking off these small limbs, and what I like about it, it's got a central leader, you see, so it's got the potential to make a really good looking tree. And down here I've got a bunch of suckers that come off the bottom, and you want to take all that off too, because you don't want limbs coming out of the base of the tree, and you don't want the energy of the tree going into it. There's one more limb right there. And I'm trying to get within about, a quarter of an inch of the trunk of the tree, and you want to make sure it's nice and clean, nice clean cut like that, and there's no need to spray anything on it. Get these vines out of here, and this little guy's going to grow up to be a beautiful, beautiful oak for generation after generation of people to enjoy, I hope. Well, if you've enjoyed some of these tips and you're enjoying the progress of our little construction project here, make sure you tell a friend and subscribe to ehowhome.